Arabia in ancient history. Archaeological excavations show existence of human habitation in Arabia during the earliest period of Stone Age. These earliest remains pertain to Chellean period of Paleolithic epoch. The people of Arabia mentioned in the Old Testament throw light on the relations between the Arabs and ancient Hebrews between 750 to 200 BC. Similarly, Talmud also refers to the Arabs. Josephus, 37, 100 BC, gives some valuable historical and geographical details about the Arabs and Nabateans. There are many more Greek and Latin writings of pre-Islamic era, enumerating the tribes living in the peninsula and giving their geographical locations and historical details, which, notwithstanding the mistakes and inconsistencies in them, are inestimable sources of information about ancient Arabia. Alexandria was also one of those important commercial centers of antiquity, which had taken a keen interest in collecting data about Arabia, its people and the commodities produced in that country for commercial purposes. The classical writers first to mention the Arabians in the Greek literature were Aeschylus, 525 to 465 B.C., and Herodotus, 484 to 425 B.C. Several other writers of the classical period have left an account of Arabia and its inhabitants. Of these, Claudius Ptolemaeus of Alexandria was an eminent geographer of the 2nd century, whose Almagest occupied an important place in the curriculum of Arabic schools. Christian sources also contain considerable details about Arabia during the pre-Islamic and early Islamic era, although these were primarily written to describe Christianity and its missionary activities in that country. The numerous references made to the Arab in the Old Testament are synonymous with the nomadic tribes of Arabia, since the word means desert in Semitic, and the characteristics of the people described therein apply to the Bedouins. Similarly, the Arabs mentioned in the writings of the Greeks and Romans as well as in the New Testament were Bedouins who used to make plundering raids on the frontier towns of Roman and Byzantine empires, despoiled the caravans and imposed extortionate charges on the traders and wayfarers passing through their territories. Diodorus Siculus, a classical writer of Sicily in the second half of the 1st century BC, affirms that the Arabians are self-reliant and independence-loving, like to live in the open desert and highly prize and value their liberty. The Greek historian Herodotus, 484 to 425 B.C., also makes a similar remark about them. They revolt against every power, he says, which seeks to control their freedom or demean them. The passionate attachment of the Arabs to their personal freedom had been admired by almost all the Greek and Latin writers. The acquaintance of the Arabs with the Indians and their commercial and cultural relations, which India began in the days much before the advent of Islam and their conquest of India. Modern researches on the subject show that of all the Asiatic countries, India was closest to Arabia and well acquainted with it. Earlier revealed religions in Arabia. Arabia had been the birthplace of several prophets of God in the bygone times. The Quran says, "And make mention, O Muhammad, of the brother of Ayad when he warned his folk among the wind-curved sandhills, and verily warners came and went before and after him, saying, Serve none but Allah. Lo! I fear for you the doom of a tremendous day." Quran 46:21. Prophet Hud was sent to the Ayad, a people, according to historians, belonging to the Arab Baida who lived in a tract of white or reddish sand blown into hill banks, or dunes and covering a vast area to the southwest of Ul-Rubi al-Khali, the vacant quarter, near Hadramaut. This region has no habitation and is void of the breath of life, but it was a verdant land in the ancient times, with flourishing towns inhabited by a people of gigantic strength and stature. The whole area was consumed by a fearful and roaring wind which covered it with sand dunes. The Quranic verse quoted above shows that the prophet Hud was not the only messenger of God sent to the ancient Arabs of this area, as many more warners came and went before him. Soleh was another Arabian prophet sent to the people called Tamud who lived in Al-Hijaz situated between Tabuk and Hijaz. Prophet Ismail was brought up in Makkah, and he died in the same city. If we extend the frontiers of the Arabian Peninsula northwards to include Midian on the borders of Syria, Prophet Shu'aib would also be reckoned as an Arabian prophet. The historian Abulfida says that Midianites were Arabs, living in Midian near Ma'an, which is adjacent to the Sea of Lut, Dead Sea, in Syria on the frontier of Hijaz. The Midianites flourished after the downfall of the people of Lut. Ancient Arabia had been the cradle of many a civilized and flourishing people to whom God had sent his prophets. But all of them were either destroyed because of their evil ways or became strangers in their own homeland, or were forced to seek new homes. The prophets of God born in the lands far away had sometimes to seek refuge in Arabia from the despotic kings of their lands. Abraham, had migrated to Makkah, and Moses had to flee to Midian. Followers of other religions, too, had to seek shelter in Arabia. The Jews, when persecuted by the Romans, had settled in Yemen and Yathrib, while several Christian sects harassed by the Byzantine emperors had migrated to Najran.